there.
Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear
Well,
me. I'm like, hi, I just rolled out of bed. No.
You look beautiful. We're live because
we're already live.
Everybody knew before we started that we were on because I got too late to anyway.
They don't care about our
They don't care,
excuses.
but we haven't really started, but
We've
people
started.
who are tuning in like Tora.
Tora
Lura Lura. He doesn't like that when I do that, so I shouldn't.
Why?
I'm kidding. I don't know why, but
he
just goes,
like
"Stop, Lee."
Tora, it's what Lee does for a term of endearment.
There you go.
Yeah. Nobody's making fun of Tora. We love him.
No one's making fun. We do tease him, but we don't make fun of him.
Yeah.
No. We tease everybody, though. We tease Lesley, too.
Lesley doesn't get teased. She fights back. No, I'm kidding. You know what? You actually could not have teased me like a year ago.
I actually could not have when?
I would have gotten angry.
When you were younger or before?
No, like a year ago.
Before your enlightening?
Pretty much, yeah. Before I was able to see what I did within myself.
Right. That's cool. You're awesome. You're awesome.
So are you.
I'm good. Good.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, gosh, what do we ever talk about?
I have fun stuff.
I know. Well, let's do it. I mean, we got good times. The good times are here. Hold on. We got lots of comments. They're probably all from... No, Kent.
Hi.
Do you know Kent? Yeah.
Kent, thanks for sharing it. Really appreciate that.
Cool. And he just shared it. That's so awesome. What a good guy Kent is. I like him.
All right. No, well, here's one thing. You know what? People could maybe say, like, why do you do the show? You know, like... it's got to wait like a smaller audience than what you could go on your page and do and things like that. But you want to know why? I like the way it makes me feel.
Good.
And that's the value. And that's what I realized was always the missing piece in my life was that I wanted to run around and blame other people and be like, but I did this and I said this right. Yeah. But it was about how I was making people feel.
Right. Right.
And when
you make an effort to make people feel good, you feel good.
Right. But I honestly didn't see life that way.
Yeah. I mean, but we go through traumas in our life. We go through. And
I traced mine back. I figured out everything.
Awesome. This week.
Yeah, literally this week. Like it's been a process, but like this was the week that I put like everything together, and I was like, why have I always had this resentment towards my mom and dad when I didn't want to?
Right.
I didn't want to, but I didn't know why.
And now you know.
Yeah, now I know. And it's crazy. But I mean, I don't know if we want to get into all of it. I'd be willing to share it, but it's just crazy how to think of what it can turn into if you don't address it. And honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with why we're seeing autoimmune diseases as well as sensory disorders right now, more and more. And it has to do with generational healing.
Well, I mean, a lot of stuff has to do with that. And a lot of people don't understand how that works. But there definitely is problems there. I don't have, my dad, good guy. His dad, however, there may have been some generational stuff that was perpetuated there. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know him that well, but my dad, said he tell me about your dad, Dad. Oh, I respected him. Not, I love my dad.
Right.
I respected him.
And that's kind of how I was. I didn't even realize I wasn't like loving people. Really. My idea of love was respect.
And guess what? Love has a lot to do with respect, but
it does. But there's that emotional piece to it that I refused to let in.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I thought it did. but actually what it was doing was never letting me reach that next level in life, that I was like, why is it that no matter what, I work so hard? Like, I see all these people, I'm working so much harder than them. Like, why not me? I deserve this.
Right.
But what it was is I wasn't valuing other people as much as I'm actually the opposite of most personality styles, whereas I valued myself too much. I thought I was better than everybody else.
You are though.
No, I mean, we're all, I don't want, you know what? I am in some ways, but other people are good and better than me in some ways absolutely. Too, you know? So, but that was what I was, oh, wow. I mean, it sounds ridiculous and like a child, but, you know, I really realized that.
What have you made any, like, how, for your kids, have you approached them and said, listen, talk to me about how I've treated you over the years, you know, to make sure they're not having the same issue down the road that, you know, you of course had no knowledge of. And I bet your parents didn't have any knowledge of it either.
They didn't. So it was never anything between them and me.
Yeah.
But now that I'm able to see it, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like now, I mean, my parents live with me in my house, and like it went from within just this week to like wanting to give my parents hugs and all the time, and like wanting to talk and know more about them and knowing their history and how they were brought up and like understanding all of it. And now I'm like, oh wow, like again, we were all yearning for the same thing. But we didn't know how to get there because we were too busy focusing on the other people's negatives, and in all honesty, and not realizing that we could embrace them as positives and work together to be a whole. And that was, but I could never figure it out. And now I did. Yeah. So it's awesome.
You bring them together to bring more joy into your lives.
Yeah. And it was honestly, it's really like, if people don't want if people don't want to see that in themselves.
Right.
And I always said when I started this process, I'm like, I'm afraid to dig all the way down because I don't think I'm going to be able to handle what I find.
Right.
And whenever I finally got there and I did see it, I did feel really bad for a little while, but then as I started to really think through like how I got to be how I am, and you know how my parents got to be how they are, it's like, oh, okay, now I just learned a new way of thinking.
Yeah, sure. I mean, absolutely. You come to a realization at some point in your life, I think, and sometimes it's too late for some of us, or it seems too late anyway. It's never too late. But it seems like, oh, what time I've wasted being this person as opposed to being my true self.
Right.
You know.
But on the flip side, you wouldn't have it any other way because you wouldn't be as grateful. Because it's the contrast that allows for the gratitude. So for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, instead of feeling like sad and beating myself up, I just feel so grateful that I ever found it.
Right.
You know?
Sure. I totally agree. One of the things that I just saw, one of my favorite people said hello. It's Derek Pearson. He's the guy usually on with me on Tuesdays. Cool. Yeah, he's on Tuesdays. He just got actually he's in a book. They compiled a book with all these different speakers and stuff, and Derek's stories in that book. So it's going to be exciting. I think tomorrow is the big release and stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can't wait to see and hear all the different stories tomorrow on their special, and I'll find out what that is and send it out to everybody and promote it. I already have a little bit, but I need to do that some more. So he got me all jumbled because I think he's so great, and I want to look good and say the right things, you know.
Wait, why would you get jumbled about that?
Just because I'm so respectful of him. He's such a great man, And
Hey, we're all equal here.
I aspire. No, I know, but I aspire to have his heart. I mean, I'm not ashamed.
You're working
of my
on
heart.
it. Yeah. We're all work in progress.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you go, oh, look who's watching. Holy crud, but and I elevate him. He would just shake his head and say,
right.
No. And it's probably what he's doing if he's still watching. But anyway, he's awesome, and love having him on the show, and I feel very, very privileged to have you. I feel privileged to have all of my co-hosts.
I know, but don't you sometimes feel like a parent? You're like, oh my gosh, I love that person. You're like, but I love that person too. And I love that person. But it's all for different reasons.
Different reasons, exactly.
And it's like sometimes I'll feel like that with my kids. You know how some people are like, oh, I have my favorite, or do you ever have a favorite? And I'm like, yeah, I do all the time, but they're for different reasons. So they're all my favorite. They're still all my favorite.
Yeah. That's right. My kids when they were younger used to say, who's your favorite, Dad? Do you love me more than Madeline? Or you love me more? And I'm like going, of course, as far as the love's concerned, no. And I try and keep, I would tell them this: in our house, your dad is dedicated to love your mom over everybody. Okay. But then you guys kick right in there. So
by loving her, it's one of those that this is what I love about love. Love isn't about one, because when you love one, you're loving all.
Yeah.
So by loving your wife, you were loving them too.
Sure. Absolutely.
And so that's where it's like people have that separation where it's like, well, if I do this for this person, then this person loses out or whatever. It's like, no. That's where you that's where you rise to a higher perspective, and you can see the whole picture more, and because you've taken that block out of yourself, you can see the whole picture more and be like, what can I do that's a win for everybody at once?
Yeah. And that's loving God first, and then that in return helps you love everybody. Because who does he love? Everybody. Right. And he loves everybody equally. And so that's what I'm working towards myself, is I want to love everybody equally. I may not care as much about some people as I do about my family and the people who are close to me. Those people who I'm doing stuff with.
You have just a closer relation, a more intimate relationship.
Right. And so it's not that I don't care about people that I don't know. I love them, but it's not that I don't care. I just don't know them. So there can't be really. I don't know I can't care for somebody who I don't know.
Loving them.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. No, I love them. I know I do. Yeah. Even if I haven't met them, I know I love them.
Yeah, you're gonna treat them.
But how exactly? So I know when I meet that person, each person I meet every day, I treat them with respect and love and caring and. And it comes back around. It comes back around, and that's not why you should do it.
Right.
The payoff, you don't do it for the payoff.
Because you can.
Yeah, exactly.
What does it hurt? It's like,
exactly.
I had a conversation with my friend the other day about when you see a homeless person and how so many people in society are like, well, what are they going to do with the money? What if they go buy drugs? You know what? It's not about that. It's about the feeling that you gave that person when you looked in their eyes and you put the money in their cup and you said, I hope you have a great day. Who cares if they bought drugs? You made them feel human.
Yeah.
For 1 second. That's what it's about. It's not whether or not maybe they need those drugs because that's the only thing that makes them happy. I don't care what they do. That's not my job. My responsibility ended when it wasn't even about the money. You can stop and look somebody in the eye and let them know, hey, I don't think I'm above you.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No,
and that's what it's like. Again, why do I do it? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, that's true.
That's the better question.
Well, I think there's a lot of people who work in the realm of that have different answers, obviously, for those different things from experience and from what they do. But, each of us are different and each of us are individuals. And we look at the world a little bit different, each of us.
Definitely.
And so in your case, I get it totally. You're just like, hey, if I have it in my pocket, I'm going to pull it out and give it to them.
And even if I don't, roll the window down and be like, hey, I hope you have a great day.
Exactly.
That might be the one person. Might be that one person that made them feel like they were worth anything.
True.
And it's just about leaving someone feeling good. It's not about what you do or say.
Right.
And that's what that was the hard lesson that I had to learn was, I might have been doing and saying all the right things, but underneath, how did I leave the person feeling like I was better than them?
How did you leave the person? Well, but
like I was better than them.
Right.
Because I thought I was.
Right. And you come to a realization that, you know what? Because, and again, for me, it's a spiritual thing. I don't think I'm better than people because God doesn't think I'm better than people. And he's all knowing. So if he knows that I'm not better than people, then I have to trust that and say I'm not. Well, they are better than me and I'm not better than them. That we're the same. We're the human race and we're all equally equal in this side of God.
The opposite too that a lot of people do, and when they don't value themselves.
Which is when they don't value themselves. Exactly.
I mean, it's that balance of going, we're all exactly equal. And it's really, and that's where I wrote a post this week about entitlement. And I realized, I really think that's where entitlement comes from. Like when you're one of the person that says like, oh, well, I'm not going to give that person any money because they'll spend it on drugs. When you're judging other people and your kids hear you judging other people, they grow up realizing that some people are different than other people in terms of equality and what they deserve in life. And that's where it perpetuates, when they see that person that I'm willing to turn a blind eye to, or that cashier that I'm willing to get nasty with because they didn't ring my order up fast enough, it's like when your kids see you doing that.
Yeah.
It sticks and nobody really realizes why. And they don't realize how, oh, I'm not entitled. Well, I actually was, because like growing up, certain ways that my parents taught me, it made me think that there were some people that were better than others, not racially or anything like that, but just, I mean, you don't
economically or whatever. Yeah.
You just don't realize what effect it has on your kids, so a lot of that stuff is stuff that I'm like, now I drive by, I'm like, why would I just make other people feel good that I come into contact with? I'm going to look for opportunities. I'm going to wave to that guy that's got the stop sign held up that's making me stop in traffic so they can cut the tree down on the road. Why wouldn't I look for that opportunity and be like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, exactly. And
why? Because I can.
And then they say, what's that kooky lady waving at me for?
Yeah, they probably think that, but they're like, that's kind of cool though.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the big point. They might think that because in their, no, I know. And it's fun to be kooky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally is, because people go, boy, that lady's awfully friendly. Well, yeah, you can be too, pal. You know, and I remember we, as a family, we put together little bags, care bags, we called them. It was part of a thing we were doing at our church too, but we used to carry them in the car. And if we came upon somebody who was, needed,
I love that idea.
And we would give them this little care bag as opposed to cash. Put a little something of everything, a little snack in there, a nice little snack, and nowadays a mask maybe.
Or like some kind of toiletry or something like that.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah, a little pack of, and they have the travel. That's what we used to have fun. We'd go to Target and go to the travel aisle in the back in the pharmacy area and pick up all kinds of little travel knickknacks and goody goods and fill these little packs. Yeah, it was cool. And I don't know why we gotten away from it. I'm going to have to talk to my wife. My kids are older now, of course, but I want to continue that. I want them to continue doing that,
I love that.
As they start having kids, they understand
that's
the way it is. Yes, totally. Mm-hmm.
So it's been a fun week seeking out extra positives.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yep.
It's funny because every time I've gotten in the car, I'm like, I'm going to have a song on that I like, you know, and every time I get in,
You're going to tune into MoreJoy Radio.
Yes. It's always something that I'm like, yes.
Yeah, well,
I'm even like attracting a good song to have a great day, you know? It's like it just doesn't stop.
That's right. And that's one of the objects, obviously, with us too, with MoreJoy Radio, is that our radio station, I want to constantly be playing, and it's mostly 80s and 90s, but we play other music too, but stuff that can be positive and uplifting. I listen to the station every now and again. I hear a song, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to take that off. You know, that's not really what I would call encouraging, and but it might be for somebody.
And you know what's crazy is sometimes, like, once you have a new attitude, you'll hear songs and you're like, oh my gosh, they were totally talking about something different than I picked up in it all this time. Like, I listened to that song, what was it? Gosh, what's that song by the Eurythmics where there's not Here Comes the Rain Again, but the other one, where some of them want to use you, some of them want to get used by you.
Yeah.
I always only focused on that part, but I'm like, no, they're basically saying, you know, everybody's trying to do different things in life.
Right.
They all think they have their same way, and they're saying, keep your head up, moving on. And I was like, oh my gosh, I never focused on that part of it.
That's right.
So it's so fun.
Exactly.
That's what I love about music.
It's really amazing when you find yourself in positions like we're in now, doing radio and doing television or whatever, Facebook Lives, and we're talking about positivity and about excitement and about encouragement. It's interesting how quickly, when we're doing stuff outside of the show, for me anyway, that I pick up on little things that are encouraging, you know, and I go, ooh, that's cool. You know, I see it more often. My vision has been set up to hear and see that kind of encouragement because I'm making the attempt to do it as well. So it's really interesting.
Or the other thing I'll pick up too is I'll pick up areas in people that I see they need encouragement that they may not even know. Like, for instance, I started realizing the more I started thinking this way, the more thinking the other way is no longer an option to think, because those options have been taken out of my brain now.
Right.
So I don't even think to be like, oh, look at that lady running down the street. She probably barely make it. Like, now I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that lady. I hope she does great.
Yeah.
So you hear in people what they say now, what they're telling themselves. And I'm like, oh wow, like they're beating themselves up. And you really see how, like, they're beating themselves up inside their heads. If you're going to yell at a clerk in a gas station because they're taking too long, well, you're probably yelling at yourself all the time for taking too long.
Exactly.
Now I don't do that because it's not an option, because I don't think that.
Right.
It's just weird how it seems like it's so much, but it's really just one change.
Right.
And that's what everybody thinks is so hard. It's like, oh, we got to make all these changes. No, actually, it's just you change one thing and everything gets sucked up into a vortex with it.
Right.
Of upwards of positivity tornado.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Hey, listen, I think I need to, I think we're going to have to cut the show a little bit short today. I'm having a little, my knee is really hurting me bad.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I need to call my doctor and stuff. But
yes,
I wanted you to know, though, don't want to miss out on these Fridays. This is beautiful. It starts my day so awesomely.
Me too.
Yeah.
I do it for
thank
me.
you. Thank you. I do it for me too.
And it's a win for everybody, though. So.
It is. All right. Thank you, my dear.
Better. I'm so sorry that you're in pain, but take care of yourself.
I don't know if you've seen me. I've been squirming, trying to get it not bothering me, but it's just not working. So anyway,
no problem. Well, let me know. Shoot me a follow-up text or something.
I will.
Let me know that you're okay.
I will do that for sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Lesley. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate you. Take care.
Bye.